Welcome to Outlier, the world's best AI stock trading assistant. My name is Christopher Yule. I'm going to walk you through every single thing about Outlier and how you can use it starting today. So let's jump right in. So let's start here on the watch list. What we can see here are my favorites, the bull list, and the bear list. Now, my favorites list is so easy. You can add anything you want to inside of Outlier just by clicking the little star button right there, and it'll be added right to your list. You can see BIIB is just added right there and just as easily taken off. And then you can expand this to see additional detail for all of the stocks, including the current buy signal, the last signal date for the buy or sell signal, the sector that this stock belongs to, the green, red, or white overlays, which we'll cover more in a little bit, the last day close price, and the 30-day average volume. Now you can click this button over here, and it'll actually change over to the ETFs. So you can keep track of not just your stocks, but also ETFs. And the same holds true with the bull list. It'll give you all the same information as well as the ETFs. Everything with a buy signal goes on the bull list. And with the bear list, everything that gets a sell signal goes on the bear list, which you can see right here for the stocks and the ETFs. And you can see this number changes as well. You can see there are 11 new stocks on the bear list today with 823 total. If we switch over to ETFs, there's 2 new on the bear list today with 69 total. And if we go over to the bull list, you can see 67 new stocks with buy signals today, over 964 total. And then there's 5 new ETFs with 181 total on the bull list here. So everything you'd want to see all in one place is what we have here in the watch list. You can very quickly glance and see, hey, which stocks have a buy signal today, which stocks have a sell signal today, and exactly what's going on with my favorite stocks. What's really cool about the watch list is you actually can go over to the sectors here and see the most recent signal for each sector, right? So if you're looking at the utility sector, maybe it's time to sell. Or if you're looking at the financial sector, maybe it's time to buy. That just makes it super simple to have all the sectors in one place. And everything that shows on your watch list, you will get alerts for. So anything with a star next to it, you will get an email alert whenever a stock goes from the buy or sell signal, or it even gets a green, red, or white overlay change. So anything you put on your favorites list, you're going to get an email about, which is so handy. Now, the watch list and the bull and bear list gives you a great starting point to sift through all the stocks out there. There's thousands of stocks out there, and we cover nearly 2,000 of them already inside of Outlier and growing. And here on one screen, you can see nearly everything all at once. And what's great about this too is that this gives you the newest, hottest opportunities set right in your lap every single day, where it delivers you what's the buy signal and what's the sell signal all in one spot. Let's jump into a stock, and we'll use Tesla as our example here. Tesla is one of the most exciting stocks out there, and of course, we're going to cover inside of Outlier. So right away, you're going to see lots of information here on the screen. Lots of buys and sell signals, overlays, blue lines, red lines. It can all be a little bit confusing, but listen, I'm here to help you out and show you exactly how to use this. So the first thing to start with on the charts here is the blue line. Now, what's really handy about these charts is you can zoom in. They change from weekly to daily candles in the blink of an eye, and it just makes it super seamless. But let's start with the price trajectory oscillator, this blue line in the background. A lot of people think that this could be a moving average, but it's really not. This is one of the most important indicators inside of Outlier, this blue line right here. This is our price trajectory oscillator. And the way that I look at it is that anytime I see the blue line moving up, that is the price trajectory going upwards, right? That makes it super simple. If you're going to be buying the stock, you want to see it while the price trajectory oscillator is moving up. And the same is true if you want to sell the stock. If you see it moving down, that is an indication that the price of the stock is moving down, right? So you can make a lot of really informed decisions just by trading the blue line right there, the price trajectory oscillator right there on the screen. Now, one way to use this is that if you're going long, you want to see the price trajectory oscillator pointing upward, which makes total sense, right? And if you're going to be selling it, you want to be looking for it to go down. And it's really important to catch these turns, right? These turns at the bottom here, you can see correspond a lot with those buy and sell signals that we're going to cover later on. But those turns really make it obvious to where the buy and the sell signal could be a great opportunity to start getting into or out of a stock. And the magnitude of these moves matters a lot as well. Anytime you see it getting really high up on the chart, imagine that from 0 to 100, anytime you see this getting way up on the chart, and then turning back down, that magnitude matters, right? That could result in a significant drop or a significant rise in the stock. And this is a great starting point. Imagine that you want to start shorting a stock. You could add this together with the sector and market data, and as well as there's any external factors like maybe the Fed increasing or decreasing the federal funds rate, maybe a big war breaking out, something like that. having this as a starting point really makes things easier for you inside of Outlier. And one area that we really focus on is our pivotal points here on the price trajectory oscillator. Whenever it moves really low and then has that change in direction, that is an excellent opportunity to start looking at buying the stock. So on the bottom of the chart down here, you're going to see the behavioral heat map chart for all the stocks. And this is a great example because this stock has had a ton of fear lately. The deeper the red, the deeper the fear is with a particular stock. And the opposite is true. The higher the green, the higher that green mountain right there, the additional amount of greed there is for that stock. So we can look at a couple points in the past where Tesla got ultra greedy. I do remember that a couple years ago. Let's zoom in here. And we can see how it went from inside of the fearful area on our fear and greed index here. And it went super high in the behavioral heat map chart. And then as soon as that peaked, we continue to see fear for months and months and months. And the way that I like to look at it is once a stock gets entirely too fearful, it's very possible that a reversal point will be coming soon. And the same thing is true here. Once it gets too greedy, you could absolutely see a reversal point coming as well for the downside. Now, the old adage is be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. And by having this behavioral heat map chart down here, we try and take the guesswork out of that and let you know exactly just how greedy or just how fearful people are on every single stock that we cover. And one thing that we have found is that the deeper the green or the deeper the red, the more likely there is for a snapback. I like to think of it like a rubber band. The further that it gets stretched, the more likely it is to snap and snap back super strong. So when you're looking at the chart here, one of the most obvious things that sticks out, these are our uptrend and downtrend indicators here, the red, green, and white overlays, right? So anytime it's in a green overlay, then it's in an uptrend. Anytime it's in a red overlay, then it's in a downtrend. And when it's in a white overlay, that means it's in a sideways trend. Now we keep this up to date and it updates every single day, right? So you're going to find some stocks where the stock just got into an overlay and you're going to see it right here on the right-hand side. In fact, let me go to this one real quick on the S&P 500 and you'll see here that even zooming in and zooming out, you can see how it changes from, oh, it went from a sideways trend, and just a few days ago, it's now in an uptrend. So using this allows you to very, very quickly see, is the stock moving up? Is the stock moving down? Or is the stock moving sideways? So that's definitely one easy way to use the uptrend, downtrend, and neutral indicators inside of Outlier. Now, one of the ways that I like to use this is I like to combine different indicators on the screen here. If I see a green overlay, and I see a rising oscillator here, and I see a buy signal, that is a huge opportunity for me. I would say that that is an extremely strong trend. And whenever I see a sell signal like this inside of the green overlay, I wouldn't start going short, but I would absolutely look to take my profits off the table, maybe sell and go to cash. But then you've got one like this over here, where it's a red overlay, so it's in a downtrend, the oscillator's moving down, and you got a sell signal, and it's moving more into the fearful area of the behavioral heat map chart, then you can combine all of those, and that could be a great short signal right there. But combining the different overlays with the other indicators here inside of Outlier gives you a tremendous advantage that most people would dream of having. You could also consider this like green light or red light on investing in stock. Whenever you see a big red overlay indicator right there, maybe the time to go long is not right now. But other end of it, anytime you see a big green overlay like that, that could be your green light to start going long. Now down here on the left-hand side of every single stock that we have is the directional volatility histogram. And the way that you can look at it is multi-different ways. First, this example right here has a right-hand cluster. Lesser downside risk over recent history, right? There's more upside to this stock than downside to this stock. And then if it had a tall peak right in the middle, it's more consistency, right? It's not all that big of moves up or down over time. Then let's say you've got a super wide peak over that. It's more erratic over the extremes, right? That means that you've got lots of moves up and lots of moves down in both directions. And really, this stock has a lot more volatility than the average. And then if it's heavily on the left-hand side over here, there's a much greater downside risk over the recent history. So that may be one that instead of going long, maybe it's a shorting opportunity, or maybe it's one that you want to avoid altogether. And the way that you can think about it is that this tells you what normal looks like for the stock, right? If it's a stock that has a huge range, maybe it's got way too much volatility for you or in the way that you'd like to trade. Or maybe you love that kind of volatility and this is exactly the stock that you're looking for. Or maybe you want a very consistent, very small moving stock that you can just set it and forget it. And that would be one that has a very small cluster roughly around the middle. Now, something special we have inside of the ETFs is the constituent map right here. And you can check right up here and go to any of the ETFs that we cover. And the constituent map has something really, really cool. If you hover over any date, you'll actually see that update on the screen there. And it'll tell you how many stocks are showing fear and how many stocks are showing greed. And you can find areas of extreme movements like this one here. Let's see what it shows. A ton of stocks showing in the greed category. And then you could go to the COVID sell-off. Let's go over to that real quick. And you can see a ton of stocks reflecting fear, right? Look at that. Nearly 433 stocks are showing fear and only 14 showing greed. And again, that goes back to our behavioral heat map charts down here. This shows so much greed, and so does the constituent map. That shows you inside of any of these ETFs how the individual stocks are acting. So it's not just taking a look from the top down, you can actually look from the inside out, and you can see exactly how many stocks are showing fear and how many stocks are showing greed inside of each of the ETFs. And one thing that we found is that when it gets too lopsided one way or another, maybe over 75%, that could be a great opportunity for buying if it's that many stocks in the fear category, or it could be a great time to get out and maybe even start going short if there's that many stocks in the greed category. Now, what you've all been waiting for, and probably our most exciting part of Outlier, are the buy and sell signals listed right there on the chart. It doesn't get any easier than this. We actually perform backtesting on every single stock that we put out there, and we put so much emphasis on when is the right time to buy the stock and when is the right time to sell a stock. So we don't take these lightly, but we do plot them right there on the chart and make it ultra simple for you. So anything that you see over on the watch list is going to be showing up right there on the charts for that day as a buy or a sell signal. And this is a combination of so many factors that we've included inside of our platform tool. And these buy and sell signals are a combination of all different data points from inside of Outlier to make it super simple and give you just one very actionable step of buying or selling. Now, looking at the performance summary, we can see incredible results with Outlier. One of the really cool things about this is that it's a one-click backtest. Right? Anytime you're on any stock, you can just hit performance summary, boom, instant backtest. And you can see for Tesla, Outlier has a 1186% as of the time of this recording versus buy and hold 310.85%. That is measuring all the buy signals and all the sell signals as if you were buying the stock with every green buy signal and selling and going to cash on every sell signal, but no shorting is included in this calculation here. And you can see just how well Outlier performs on every single stock that we cover. Now, there is a lot more to it than just how did the Outlier signals do. We've got lots of back testing here to give you more information. Like, for example, the buy and hold period that we've covered is 1,088 days, and Outlier was only active 523 of those days. So we weren't in for maybe about half the time there. And then there were 32 buy signals during this time. And then the average holding period was only 16 days. And so you'd be looking at 100% time in the market when really Outlier was able to do so much better, so much higher returns, and only be in the market 48% of the time. You can see the signal returns right there. And the capital efficiency is a measure of how well the stock performed using the Outlier signals combined with how long were we in the market. And at 7.94% on Tesla, that is a major, major outperformance there. Anything above 2.0 could be something that you could really start to consider as a truly, truly well-performing stock. Because anytime you see it greater than 2.0, that means that either you're making twice as much in the exact amount of time, or you're in half as much and you're making just as much at the same time. And then the max drawdown here, example on Tesla here, Tesla had a 73% drawdown from its high to low over this period here, whereas Outlier's worst drawdown was only 15%, showing incredibly less volatility than just buy and hold. Now, inside the platform, we recently added a lot of new features, including our market breadth. And let's go over that real quick. Inside of the market breadth, you can see so much information here. And let's try and break this down individually. If you owned every single stock on this point here, you can see over time how well it's performed using the buy and sell signals that Outlier has generated. and you can zoom in and get a lot more information there with the outlier index. Now, the bull list percent, this is really cool. Remember back on the watch list here, we saw how many stocks were on the bull list. For example, there were 67 new stocks added today. Well, what we figured out was that we can derive a ton of really useful data from the bull list percentage. So you can see right here, this is actually increasing tremendously right now. You can see just how many stocks are going over from the bear list and onto the bull list. This is growing huge. And if you like to do technical analysis, we even provided an additional layer of detail there where you can add over moving averages there to see where that crossover point is. So for example, if you wanted to look at stocks only when the crossover is over the 10-period exponential moving average on the bull list, we have found that to be an incredible signal for going along on the different parts of the market. And then the uptrend and downtrend indicators, remember back over on the stocks, we can see the red and green overlays. Well, we've got it all for you right here. And we can see just how many stocks have green overlays versus red overlays and how that's changed over time. Like right here, there were so many stocks with red overlays. And the same is true here, so many stocks with green overlays. So we try and give you a holistic picture from the market breadth perspective, but we can actually look into additional detail inside of each of these sectors here. So let's go into the financial sector. All right, now here on the financial sector, you can see this is also growing as well. And how many stocks are showing on the red and green overlays? And this gives you so much information, not just on the market, but on the individual sectors themselves. We find this to be an incredibly useful tool for helping time our trades, as well as finding exactly where the best opportunities are inside the market. Now, one thing that we've also found is that when the number of stocks with buy signals gets extremely high, how many people are left to buy? Well, we have found that once it reaches these extremes, like over 75% or under 25%, there are really strong pullbacks that have historically happened once we reach these highs up here and down here. So it gives you an even broader picture. Once we find an extreme using the bull list percent, it's very likely that things are about to pull back. And now our biggest improvement that we've made in months is absolutely the screener. Using the screener allows you to see so much more inside the market than anybody ever has in history. Now, everything that we've shown you here inside of the platform, we can actually screen for right here all in one spot. We can filter out by sectors, by industry. So we can say financials and then banks. All right. We can look at all of that all in one spot. So you can find any stock that you really want to narrow it down to, or you can leave it wide open. We can look at the outlier signal return to see if it's been positive or negative, which makes it super simple. So you don't have to go into each individual stock and hit the performance summary. You can see them all right there in one spot. And you can filter those right there using the capital efficiency that we talked about earlier. You can change and say, okay, I only want to look at stocks that have a capital efficiency of 2.0 or maybe less than 1.0. We've got all the different options for you right there. The 30-day average volume, you can see right here. Maybe you like to trade low float stocks, or maybe you like to trade stocks that are big names. Either way, we've got it covered, right? Greater than $1 million, between 500,000 and $1 million, and maybe less than 500,000, your 30-day average volume. Current signal status, buy or sell. You can look very quickly and see, oh, okay, I only want to look at buy signals, or I only want to look at sell signals. The price change. Now, this is a really cool tool because if you want to see stocks that have had a pullback, maybe you could say, okay, over the last 20 days, show me any stocks that have had a 5% pullback or more, or maybe even a 10% pullback or more. That's what we're looking at there. And then you can look at the oscillator. Remember, that's the blue line on the charts. And you can say, okay, I want to only be looking at the oscillator moving up, or I only want to be looking at the oscillator moving down. Whichever is the case for you and the way that you like to trade, you can filter that out right there. Now, market cap. Maybe you like to trade small market cap stocks. You can zoom in basically to any point that you want, or you can leave it wide open to get every stock out there. And then you can set your price range. You can see stocks that only have a price range of maybe under $20, or maybe $20 is where you like to start. So you could go $20 or more, or maybe you only want to trade anything from 20 to 100. We give you the flexibility right here to put in whatever works for you. And then the heat map values. Remember, this is the behavioral heat map chart down here. And one thing that we have found is that going too deep into the green or too deep into the red may not work so well because, like I said earlier, this can absolutely snap back. So let's say if you want to go long, maybe go from any R value because that's moving from the fear, maybe up into the greed, and then any green value up to maybe 30 or 40 or 35. You can set that parameter right there so you don't get into a stock that's way too fearful or way too greedy, and make it fit inside of your trading plan. And then lastly, the overlay indicators. We talked about that these are the uptrend and downtrend or neutral indicators, and now you can toggle those on or off. So you can build that however you want. So let's build a scanner together as an example. Let's say I only want to look at financials and I only want to see outlier signal positive return with a capital efficiency over 2% and 30-day average volume over 1 million. Current signal status, I want to buy signal. Price change, I don't need to see anything right there. Moving up on the oscillator, any market cap, price range, let's keep it under $200. Heat map value, I want it to be almost all the way wide open, but not too much in the greed. And then I only want to look at the uptrend indicators. And then I can hit apply filter. And then here we can see that these three match all of my criteria. And let's say I want to keep looking at this on a daily basis. It makes it super simple. You can come in here and hit save, and you can say something like financials, then you can hit save. And now if you come over to your screeners, you'll see not only the one that you have here, but also some others that we've worked on as well. And you can click that and hit apply. And in just a moment, it'll have everything you want from that different screener popped right into there. Isn't that simple? I'll tell you what, this is probably the biggest time saver that we have come across here at Ovtlyr, because it takes all the information that you have right here inside of the platform. Once you figure out just exactly how you want to trade it, you can filter that off right there, and you can come in here every day with the click of one button and say, oh, sweet, I know exactly what I want to see, because this has filtered out all of the way that I like to trade. Then you can add those stocks to your favorites by clicking the star, or in fact, you can click this star right here and add all of them to your favorites list there, which I don't want to do. So there you go. That's everything inside of Ovtlyr. And as you can see, Ovtlyr is one of the most powerful tools that has ever been created inside of the stock market. And we are so excited that you are here, that you are learning how to use this. And if you ever need help, please reach out into our Discord. We are active in the Discord every single day, and it is honestly our opportunity to work directly with our customers to provide you with the greatest platform out there. In fact, so many of these improvements that we have built into the platform are a direct result of your input inside of the Discord. So we really thank you for making Ovtlyr better, because it is our job to make it the best that we possibly can for you. Thank you so much for watching this quick platform tutorial. Please feel free to reach out if you ever need anything from us, and have a fantastic day.